to our ma'am, especially from IKP, who stood us with and Vishu sir full of big applications and the everything. So with which we'll be able to see even the success stories now, so to share with. So thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today for this big session. So on behalf of Shastra University, to Shastra's Technology Business Incubation Center, one is ABLEST, which is one among the 75 BioNest across the country. And we also have a DST supported TBI, which is called FIRST. So on behalf of both the TBIs and Shastra University, IKP, I welcome you, all of you, for this session. Today with us, we have a distinguished panelist from IKP and Techno Startups. My sincere thanks to the IKP team again, because I know the amount of effort that you have taken, especially for the Shakti Prasad sir's case, where, like arranging some external experts and helping him in terms of pitching his venture in front of the panelists. And that made him to go through this entire procedures, and successfully he is also eligible to get this grant now. So thank you so much, sir. And today we have Dr. Sridhar Ramanathan, Senior Vice President of IKP Knowledge Park and CEO of IKP Eden. So to discuss about his expertise. He works with the startups and small companies and helps them realize their products and solutions. And he is building partnerships to create a vibrant innovation ecosystem. We welcome you, sir. So we also have Mr. Priyant Ghosh, a founder, a CEO at Logi AI. So he is a big 16 grantee, if I'm not wrong. So he is especially an AI expert whose digital platform, health platform, supports more healthcare screening as well as the awareness. And we have today Dr. Vaibhav Bhatia, founder CEO of Lamarck Biotech. He is basically a biochemist, cell biologist, entrepreneur, dedicated to translational research in aging and cancer. So their company is mostly involved in developing innovative molecular medicines to support sustainable and affordable healthcare systems globally. Welcome, sir. Dr. Vishwanathan, sir, Vice President, Head of Life Science Incubation IKP, supporting innovators and problem solvers. So who is always supporting us in terms of writing this big proposal and the other aspects. We welcome you, sir. And Dr. Shakti Prasad. So he is also an incubatee of ABLEST. So I believe his dedication in developing biomaterials fetch him a great reach now. So welcome, Dr. Shakti Prasad. So once again, I welcome you all for this meeting. Without much delay, I request IKP team to take this session forward.
Thank you, ma'am. If all of you don't mind, if we can have a quick intro from the participants as well, before we start the session on BIG. Can I request participants to please unmute and introduce themselves?
Apurva, maybe you can just call the names so that there are only 6 people, 8 people we can.
Yes. So I think I would request Petra Assistive Device to please introduce.
Hi, myself Subramani from Petra Assistive Devices. And we do a wheelchair which can be controlled through voice. And this wheelchairs can be having reclining features. It can stand and it can have a reclining option so that your customers can relax. The handicapped and especially challenged persons can use that. And using voice feature, they can the cerebral palsy and quadriplegic patients can use this chair to, for mobility. Thank you. This is our product.
Thank you. Bhargavi?
Hi, IKP team. Myself, Bhargavi, working for Easy Krishi Private Limited. We are into nanotech agri solutions. basically residue-free fertilizers. But currently we are into FOSS production, cost-effective FOSS production.
Great. Dr. Ramya?
Hi, thanks for organizing this session. I am Ramya. I work as a scientist in Licensed Biotech Private Limited in Chennai. So this startup is majorly working on developing vaccines and biosimilars. So I hope this session will be useful for our grants and other requirements.
Okay. Bhuvneshwari?
Hi, ma'am. Hi, IKP, and myself, Boneshwari, and I'm a research scholar from Shastra University, and we have enrolled as an Envio Health Solutions. We basically work on converting the food waste through the entomological approach, and we have developed a product which can be used as an alternative nitrogen source for microbial growth. So we're currently working on that, and we are trying to commercialize that product.
Great.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thanks.
Leeta Mohapatra?
Hi, ma'am. I'm the founder director, and my company has developed a lot of disruptive technology and phytostem cell extracts where we are developing therapeutic molecules. Currently, I'm incubating a bachelor for one of my projects, which is a 3D self-dissolvable microneedle, where we are developing an innovative mechanism of painless drug delivery through self-dissolvable microneedles, which has phytostem cell extracts. So, thank you.
Okay. Dr. G.R. Brinda?
Hello all. I'm a faculty of Shastra University, and my team actually developed some of the medical diagnostic tools and using machine learning and deep learning. So we are planning to go for this grant using with that proof of concept. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Ms. Helma? Ms. Helma, can you introduce yourself? Okay. Ms. Shalini from Healthora?
Hello, ma'am. Yeah. Hello, ma'am. My name is Shalini, and my startup is Healthora Innovations. We work into developing assistive mobility and training devices for patients with neuromuscular disorders such as cerebral palsy. And I'm incubated at CFHE, IIT Hyderabad.
Okay. Amrita?
Hi, good evening, ma'am. I'm Amrita. I'm a research scholar at Shastra University. I basically work on biomaterials for tissue engineering applications. So I'll just thought I'll have some interactive sessions for the POC and the product development as such.
Great. Mr. Swaminathan? Mr. Swaminathan, can you unmute and introduce yourself? Okay. So we have Ms. Gayatri and Dr. Bindu also from IKP. I would request Dr. Bindu to introduce.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Bindu Nishal. I lead the Agri Innovation and the One Health Incubator at IKP. Thank you, Apurva.
Thank you, Dr. Bindu. Gayatri?
Hello, everybody. My name is Gayatri. I work at IKP as part of the Grants Management Division. I handle the AGC Jan Care digital health programs. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So I hope I have not left out anyone else. Okay, I think I've covered everyone. So without any delay, I thank you all of you to join today, and to Anuradha ma'am, Mr. Nirmal, all our speakers who are veteran in BIG now. And thank you so much for giving us time, and hopeful that it will be a fruitful session for all of you. I would like to share my screen and just a brief about BIG, the process, and then we can take it, uh, we can have a perspective from each panel member, what they think about BIG and the key insights from them. And we'll keep it as interactive as possible to know more about the startups and their issues related to BIG and further. Just give me a one second. Yes. Is it visible to all?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So I would start with brief about IKP Knowledge Park. Although it's a very close connection with ABLEST SASTRA from, uh, it's been long since we are connected with Sastra, and you know about IKP Knowledge Park, but still it's for the audience that it's a not-for-profit private sector in Hyderabad, situated in Genome Valley, and many MSMEs and SMEs are housed there, and we help these startups and handhold through various funding schemes, programs and incubation. We have been able to get our footprints across nation, and through BIG alone we have supported more than 176 startup till now. So brief about biotechnology ignition grant. It is idea to POC grant with provides up to 50 lakh rupees for 18 months duration, and the area which are supported under BIG are medical device, drugs, agriculture, diagnostics, secondary agriculture, industrial and clean energy, and all the AI, ML and digital solution across all these fields are also supported in BIG. Any startup who's less than 5 years old and any graduate or probably interdisciplinary graduate is also eligible to apply for BIG. The selection process includes the call open for application biannually in January and July, uh, which follows with the online eligibility check, followed by which the face-to-face presentation happens after selection, and then the final selection happens after decision of the cutoff scores. The main evaluation criteria for BIG on which the reviewer scores uh, are unmet need, value proposition, technical viability, team and business perspective. I will go little detail in my next slides. Apart from all these factors, the important factors one should consider in their application is commercialization potential, IP and regulatory clarity in the proposal. So components of a grant application, if you go onto the portal and try to fill the form, you will see all these information. All this information is asked in the form, which includes your title, introduction, value proposition, competitive landscape, objectives and budget, including IP strategy. So when we write any of the grant application or even a pitch for investor, title plays a very important role. It has to be crisp, short, to the point, and should not deviate the attention of the reviewer by putting a lot of or say paragraph onto the title itself. Introduction, if we say, please keep it brief, yet including your unmet need or problem statement, what you are catering to, your solution, how it works, and your market, who will be your final customer, uh, who will buy the solution. And if we talk about value proposition, differentiation, and competitive landscape, they all look similar, but each has different meaning. Value proposition, we generally, the reviewer asks for what is the exact value proposition, what you're proposing. So what they are asking is what is the benefit or value you are providing to a customer, whether it's B2C or B2B, what the value a customer will achieve after using your product. Novelty or differentiation, it provides a product edge in the market above your competitors. And when we talk about competitive landscape, better to always put in a tabulated form or any other method you seem fit is able to give reviewers the glance of what your product does, what your parameters, and how it is superior to the other conventional available devices. When we talk about team, it's generally the ignored aspect in the academic sector, but it's very important to have a domain experts related to the proposal and the problem you are trying to solve. Better to have consultation with the scientific advisor and business mentor and include their name after their consent. When we write detail about the objective and milestone, please do not be brief here. It has to be little detailed with the number. What specific goal you are trying to achieve? If you are working in a diagnostic field, then sensitivity and specificity numbers has to be included in which time corresponding to the timeline. And if you are saying that after 3 months or 6 months, what kind of scaling up you will be achieving, that number also has to be shown up here. Try to put as much as technical detail possible and all the data relevant to the proposal, even if it is with references or you have any background data or your own data, which even if it's raw, please try to include that in the proposal. It helps a lot for the reviewer to understand the project. Budget allocation, try to put as much as detail in terms of number of units will be required, the consumables, the manpower which will be required. And when we talk about the consumable and equipments, try to chart it down in terms of units and per unit cost, and what is the justification, why do you need it for the proposal you are proposing. These are simple do's and don'ts. Please apply beforehand. Do not wait till the last date. And if you're mentioning your 18 months plan for 50 lakh rupees, you have to have a strategy or a plan or a schematic of how you're going to scale up, what will be the cost if you're going to scale up, and what will be the facility requirement for you in coming 3 to 5 years. Because it's a commercialization grant, it is important to put or highlight the feasibility of the experiments or the outcome of the proposal to highlight in the presentation. IP strategy, very important point. Please do not write not applicable. Even if you do not have IP right now, try to put what will be a possibility of having a IP probably after 15 months or a year, or down probably after 5 years. So it will, we have our own IKP Prime office who helps with the BIG applicants or prospective applicants to write down or make a strategy for IP. If you wish, we can connect with them, or I would leave it to Dr. Vishu to explain this particular case which is being highlighted here. These are some of the startups, very good success story, but we would like to take and talk more about Sastra startups and understand what they are willing to work upon and what they are proposing in BIG. With this, I would thank you all for your time. These are the Sastra team is familiar with the team BIG email ID, and you can ask for Sastra team for any help, and they can connect with us in any way possible. So thank you so much. I would leave it up to the panel to keep this discussion going on.
Thank you, Apurva. So I would just like to add one more point regarding the IP. So many a times novelty, IP, differentiation, people think it is same and they try to write the same things. So as Apurva mentioned, if you don't have IP also, you can mention the possible claims. And you must remember that reviewer is evaluating, and each one is an opportunity to present your technology or any additional information. So don't mention NA at all. It's crime to mention not applicable. They're giving you a chance to score, and you must make that opportunity. And one more thing I just want to mention, and maybe Dr. Shakti Prasad can talk little more. The BIG is a grant that supports innovation, and sometimes even the incremental innovation or an import substitution also can be a parameter. So don't worry if there is a similar technology or a startup is available. How you are going to add value is what you should highlight. So with this, I would like Sridhar to share few perspective from a reviewer point, and then I would request other members to pitch in.
Sure. Hi. Hi, everyone. Again, congratulations on your decision even to be part of this process and do this. I think what Apurva and Visu have talked about, and I'm sure the other winners will also say, is how they were able to be focused. But I think one of the key points that I have realized is that this is an opportunity for you to refine your ideas, right? So express your ideas, have completely unbiased view of these ideas from neutral third-party people, which is something that can enhance the value proposition that you bring to the table. So, I would say that keep it very specific, keep it clear, and make sure you know the value proposition that you're bringing to the table, and be open enough to get feedback, right? Sometimes we have had cases where people have tried it they got only on the third time. So keep yourself open for feedback, see what happens, and then you'll be able to be successful in your venture as you go forward. That's it. I won't take more time. Apurva, would you like to get our invited speakers to be part of it, share their experiences?
Yes, please. So I would request probably Dr. Vaibhav to give some insights on BIG. Then we can go with Dr. Shakti Prasad and Priyanjit.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. Really happy to be here. And what I'm going to share is, yes, I think Apurva has mentioned close to everything that is required for a big grant. But what I'm going to share is a perspective. And what I have seen when I talk to people around who are applying for big, there is a small discrepancy, and I would like to put some light on that. And big is one of the ways to fundraise. So when we are talking about BIRAC Big, it's a fundraising exercise, and big is one of a very good, very lenient platform where a lot of innovators, as we should just mention it, it can really support what it seems to be an incremental innovation now. They can really support what it could be impossible for you to go out and convince somebody else, because they not only give you money, they are helping you understand commercialization. They are not only giving you seed money, but they are forcing you to think that if the seed, by chance you unthinkable happens and you are able to grow a field of roses or whatever product you are trying to make, if you actually get the product, they force you to think, where are you going to sell those apples or roses, and how are you going to sell them? So as Apurva has mentioned that, there is a business perspective to that you have to develop. And so this fundraising should be seen as any other fundraising. So what I always say is, don't prepare for big, prepare for business. Write a business plan. Though you have an innovation and you write a business plan, there are a lot of support online, as well as IKP helps you, and all the components of BIRAC Big grants are actually part of any business plan also. So you just change your intent, write a business plan anyway, and take that from the business plan and put it in the big side, in the big application or any other, because this perspective changes. Now you are not working for 50 lakhs, you're working for value creation, that perspective. And it reflects, by chance they select you and you go for the technical review where you are presenting your presentation, your intent shows up. You could be a faculty and you are thinking about having one more grant from some other side. No, that's not the case. This 50 lakhs is given with an intent that tomorrow you will be able to raise more funds on the top of it, and you will be able to commercialize it one day. There is a chance, and they are taking that chance for you. So that is one thing I want to say. And the second thing is, I always say that it's okay to be a little stupid. It's okay to be a little crazy. And when you try to write a business plan or convert that into a BIRAC big grant, uh, it's not a bad idea that to go out and talk to people of a future product and take their reviews and see what they have said and put that in your big plan, either in the presentation or in here. When you say I have access to say 1 billion worth of market, it's okay to go and talk to people who are controlling that market, who could be your strategic partner, who could be your buyer. And this is one thing which is a lot of time missing in the big. And I understand we are focusing a lot on innovation, but it's a good idea to talk to them and mention it there. It really gives weightage to you that you have made a small effort in the side of understanding the requirement of your possible product in future. So these are two things I wanted to add, and happy to have more discussions and we can keep adding things there.
Thank you, Dr. Vaibhav. I would request Dr. Shakti to please give his insights on BIG.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So I am Dr. Shakti Prasad. I am a budding entrepreneur, and I will like to share my experience. That is, for the last 1 year, I have been applying for the big grant. So from my experience, I want to share some tips so that it will be helpful for whoever is going to apply now. And I want to thank both IKP and ABLEST for inviting me to the panel. So what I would like to mention is that as a bioglass engineer, I realized that in India, there is a huge market for bioglass, especially that is completely under the import one. There is no manufacturing. And additionally, these bioglasses have potential to be improved, that there are some challenges that can be addressed. So when I applied for the first time, I had proposed to address the performance issues of the market available ones, so that I'll be coming up with a new bioglass to be used by the Indian customers or stakeholders. But what the panel has suggested me is that because this itself is imported one and currently off patent, there is a huge scope to even commercialize or manufacture the ones that is already existing and solve the issues with the supply chain. So why I did not go for that the first time is that because I was also afraid related to the patent, and there is no much novelty in that. But again, here the people are want to support the ideas that can be easily commercialized, that has more business potential in terms of, even if it lacks certain novelty aspects or so, but as long as it is solving a problem, that it is solving an unmet need, and you have come up with a good value proposition. So these things will definitely help you in getting this grant, first of all. And second of all, what I want to add is that what Vaibhav sir has already told, and Vishu sir also has given a tip, that is try to discuss about your product to your friends or family members, any acquaintance, so that you will get some questions. Even it could be weird questions, but you will, when you try to find answers, you will also try to incorporate those answers in your proposal, and that actually adds weightage to the application. And second thing is similar, that there are some questions you will find in the BIG guidelines regarding various aspects such as the value proportion. So you try to see whether your proposal is giving answers to all the questions that is there, whether it is regarding to the idea, whether it is regarding to the commercialization aspects. So you make sure whether it is your presentation or concept note or the application, that it gives the full clarity what you want to convey to the panel members. So, and again, I want to say that this is a very challenging task. The big grant is very highly competitive, and especially when you go to TP round, you will see that every application, every idea has huge potential. So I want you to bring the best out of what you are going to do, and I hope everyone gets the grant, whether this time or next time. But in this process, try to understand. You will get to interact with IKP people, with the panel members. So slowly you will learn and try to like grow along with the application process. That's what I wanted to convey, and I want to especially thank IKP people because I had faced a problem during my TP round, and where the panel members where there was no subject matter expert to understand, so they immediately arranged for my presentation with a separate panel in the device category, and along with the external expert, subject matter expert, and it got evaluated. And what I want to convey is that in this process, everyone is trying to help the applicant, whether it is BIRAC or the big partner like IKP, even the incubators, they're always there to help. And that's why like this process, it was like easier, or it was like I am glad that I could cross the whole application process with the support from everyone, and I thank you. I end my speech now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shakti. I would request Priyanjit to please speak. I have a specific question for you. Since you are in AI ML part and we have so many startups who are working in similar area, it is important to put, how would you recommend to put value proposition in AI ML kind of proposals? Please start
Right.
with that
So,
and then you can add.
okay. So thanks, Apurva. Thanks, Dr. Visu. Thanks, Sridhar and everybody. And I hope I'm audible, right? So I
Yes.
hope I'm audible. Okay, great. So just a bit about my company's background. So Logi.ai is into AI-based screenings through smartphones, software as a medical device platform, and we also help in care coordination. We are primarily working on oral and eye screening currently, and we are also part of multiple cohorts like the 5G digital health and everything, and all of this things have happened in the last couple of years. So our experience has, the journey has started since around 2020, 2021, when we got the BIG grant. Now, before I even say anything, I would like to, thank Dr. Visu especially, because we got our grant in the second time, in the second attempt. And in the first attempt, we couldn't get it by just a few points, maybe a couple of points and all. And I had almost given hope that I wouldn't try again. And it was Dr. Visu and the team from IKP who motivated me. Even before the start of the grant, Dr. Visu and the IKP team had introduced me to a mentor. And I'm not exaggerating over here, but the team at IKP treats you like a family member, and they groom you even before you are a grantee. Like today, I'm a grantee, but even maybe 2-3 years back when I was not a grantee, the way they treat you is like to prepare you so that you get a grant. So I had received a lot of support from them, and they motivated me to try again. So that is one part of it. The second part is related to the question related to the AI/ML part, right? Now, some of our applications that we currently work in, a lot of, because today we are in business, we are working in India as well as in Africa. Africa is like a bigger market for us. We already have a patent for our oral screening product in India. So we are already in market, we have paid customers and everything. So a lot of the times the question always comes that about an alternate solution, right? So what we need to understand is that, in case of AI/ML solutions, there is always a scope of improvement. There is always a scope of maturity, right? Somebody can take some amount of data online and just create a value proposition and position it as a mature solution. However, when you take that same solution and go for clinical trials, go to the field, take the real feedback from the ground, it works very differently. So when we applied for the BIG grant, we had a certain concept in place with a very minimal data in place. And it was more like a first level of, POC in place. However, you can always pitch it that, that how you can increase the maturity of the solution, and mostly in terms of accuracy and the amount of data that you would collect in order to increase the maturity of the solution. So that plays a key role, especially for AIML solutions, because data is the key component out of it. So maybe today you have 100 patients data on the basis of which you have created a POC, but eventually you would want to make it more mature and take it to around 1,000 or 2,000 patients data, right? So that is one part. I do have a small PPT, right? I just saw that I had made a PPT for grants writing. So do I have like 5 minutes? Then I can maybe just go through that PPT.
Please go ahead, Priyanjit. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Let me see. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just do a slideshow. So I'll just take 5 minutes just going through this. I saw that I had made a PPT maybe 6 months back for grants writing and all. So, generally, these are the 5 points on which most, and this is in general for all grants. So I generally divide the grants into 3 parts: less than 10 lakhs, 10 to 50 lakhs, and greater than 50 lakhs. And for each grant, I believe there is a preparation time. If you don't prepare for it, it is very difficult that, and I think the speaker before me also told that how he is preparing for almost 6 to 12 months. So there is a lead time to, preparation of the grants and all. And I would also like to mention one great point, which Dr. Weber said, that build the business, right? Everything else falls into place. So obviously, depending upon the stage of maturity which you are, right? But ultimately, you have to build a business 2-3 years down the line. So even if you are focused on just getting that grant today and you feel that that's a milestone, that's okay. But eventually, try to build the business as you go along. Now, generally, I have seen that these are the 5 big components that any grant covers, which is the idea and technical feasibility. This also gets to the novelty of your idea, right? So for example, if you are building any novel solution in any particular field, or you are building a solution, for example, you are building an AIML solution which already exists, but it's not implemented in the ground, and you want to create a much more mature solution. So I believe almost 30% weightage depends upon this, right? The second part, and these are my numbers, these are not any official figures or anything. The team matters a lot. So for example, if you are trying to solve a particular problem in agriculture, or maybe in healthcare, or let's say in a more digital solution, then the core team as well as the advisors, it should be very important that there is a sufficient amount of background that is there. The business feasibility, this was one of our strengths because I come from an MBA background. So my strength was about building the whole business and all. And then the potential impact, and I believe the budget outline does not have much to less significance, right? Now, generally, if anybody is applying for any grant which is over 10-20 lakhs, now this is generally my timeline. If somebody has to put that, firstly, you need to be mentally prepared, right? So I don't think that for a grant like BIG, you can just see the deadline and you can just apply across it and you can just get it. I don't think that's possible, right? So at least there is a couple of months pre-work that needs to be done. If you are already working, that's great. But if you are not working and you just want to apply for the grant, and maybe you are a researcher and have done some work, at least 2 months of pre-work is required. So this is broadly how the process goes, that the pre-work is there, the submission is there, and then there is an interview. Between the interview and then you have around 14 days, and then the actual presentation happens, right? Not going into much details, but these are my top 3 points. Maybe you can take a screenshot also, but these are my top 3 points, which I believe the difference between somebody crossing the line and somebody just missing it by few points would be this top 3 points. firstly, make sure that your proposal is as technical as possible so that you have included all technical details. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you are not able to do it, make sure that you have somebody to help you. Point-wise proposals are very good. So rather than putting out a huge paragraph, the more point-wise you try to put across your points, that's great. And lastly, get it reviewed by somebody expert, take help from IKP team before. I know people who charge money to get grants, reviewed, and I think IKP team does it for free. So it's great if you could get it reviewed by somebody before submitting. That helped me a lot, right? To get somebody else's perspective. I think this is my last slide. So I generally follow, I think this is just a small acronym. You can just keep it as HOST, which is whatever application you are putting out, whether it is in medtech, whether it is in agri-tech or anything, make sure that the social impact is coming out in your whole thing. A lot of the time people confuse by putting multiple ideas in the same grant. Even I was confused, and I think the first time I did it, I confused it a bit. Make sure that your idea is very pinpoint. It is just talking about one thing, and it doesn't always sound easy unless and until you are working on a solution for a long period of time. If you are just starting to work for last 2-3 months, the idea or whatever solution you are building is always hazy. So make sure that even if the scope is large, the grant you are taking is for solving one single problem so that you are completely focused on it. You cannot say about 10 diseases because that will not help. So if you are working for healthcare, make sure you are talking about one disease and solving it. Now, a lot of people say that BIG is just an idea grant, but I don't think people with idea get it so easy, right? Again, this is just my opinion. I think some work should already be done. So whether that work is done in terms of just, ground research, you have created your first level of POC, or you have already started collecting the data, it doesn't matter, but some work should already be done. It should not be at an idea stage. That would be like my suggestion. And the last thing is the team, how you represent your team. So your team should be, comprising of a technical person, a business person, and depending whether it's healthcare or whether it is agriculture, a domain expert person and the advisors. So even if you don't have somebody onboarded, just maybe for the grants purpose or for presentation purpose, it is always good to just sign an MU or something like that and put their pictures on the slide, because the more better you showcase your team, that helps a lot. So I think these 4 points do have a lot of impact. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, I think I'm done. Okay, so I hope this points helps you guys.
Thank you, Priyanji. It's very good presentation, and thank you for that, making our life easier. And I would thank you, all of you, to give such an insights. We can open for question and answer now, and I would request panel members to be there so that for the any question, if anybody has, we can direct to them.
Yeah, Apurva, I have a question with Priyanji.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah. So since, like as a facilitator, we have seen a lot of students as well as faculties, especially working in the AI-based solutions, where there are two difficulties that I found it. One, as you mentioned, rightly, data. So collecting data, especially for a clinical application, some healthcare applications, they basically what they are doing, they are using some available Western data and using that, creating some sensitivity, efficiency, all these things that they are mentioning. But many of the time, like as you mentioned, it is hard for them to collect even very few data to support the algorithm works. So that is one point, how they must be ready in those aspects. And the second point is the when even Dr. Vishu sir mentioned IP. like India, so we cannot patent any software as such or an algorithm or mathematical modeling, which requires a kind of a hardware system need to be integrated. Right. So always when the people who have this kind of a AI-based solutions, whenever they would like to, fill these applications, they have two major challenges. What exactly that we have to do it, because they have, I'm always insisting them go and talk to your customers, either it is a clinicians or a people. So just talk to, but that alone is definitely not sufficient enough for them to pitch their idea to the panel members. So give some light to those aspects that will definitely help the people to address.
Yeah, thanks, Anuradha ji. So firstly, I'm coming to your second question first related to IP. So yes, software can be copyrighted. As such, patent you cannot get, but you can always patent the process, right? So we have a process patent. For example, if I am using a smartphone and I am doing a particular kind of screening in a certain way, I can always patent the process, and we have it. We have already done it. And getting a patent also requires good patent agencies also. You can always take a consulting from maybe IKP Prime team and all. But in case of software specifically, the roadmap is always to patent the process, right? So the process has to be very novel by which you are doing it, and we have already done it. So basically, for example, you have an AI ML system to do X. So that is the whole process, that the AI ML system can do X. You are not patenting the AI ML system, but you are patenting the AI ML system to do X, right? So that whole process can be patented, and maybe the panel members can shed more light on it, but we have done it. It is a process patent, right? The second part related to the data is, so, it's a myth that people don't want to share data. Now, I can talk at length on data, but I think when we were applying at BIG, right, we had gone to the government and we already had got an MAU from them that they would be willing to do a joint pilot and give us data. So in a lot of places, even in Hyderabad, they may not pay you, right? The good thing about government is they don't pay, but at least they are very open to do unpaid pilots or something like that, right? So through your organization, right, whoever is working on it has to be passionate, right? They have to go on the ground. So you cannot create a system just inside the lab. You have to go out, get those connections done, get those collaborations done. And it is not so difficult. Like, I believe that if you go to 5 places, maybe 4 of them will reject, but at least 1 of them will collaborate. And the best way to do collaborations is with the government setups, because sometimes the private players are not so much okay to give the data if you don't have something ready. But the government doing it in one, I'm only talking of healthcare because I'm not sure about agriculture and the other things, how the data and all the collaborations could be done. But specific for health tech and the med tech, the government, the PHCs, the CHCs, they are very much open. You can always collaborate with them, get a letter of intent from them that, in case the grant comes, you would do it, right? So they are very much open. Like I specifically remember in Telangana, I had at least 2 hospitals whose MU I had when I applied for BIG, who were very much open that we would give the data and everything, provided you get the grant. Yeah, that's pretty much like both the answers.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just want to add something on top of this. Of course, Priyanjit and his team has put the validation. In their case, actually, they were, image validation, how they will do. They have explained in so much detail. And just to put these, especially for the AML thing, because now every second proposal has some component of AML. So there is a burden of proof is slightly higher than earlier. So the data validation. So for example, Apurva was mentioning earlier that I hope I covered everybody, for introductions. That is kind of self-certification. So she's just, certifying herself that mostly I covered. But when it comes to the data validation, you need much more than that. Like, for example, when you take certain samples, whether a hospital or, no, or a independent pathologist, did they confirm the data or not? How we are using the data set, that becomes very important. So if you can pay attention to those things and provide additional information, I think even AML ones will do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think this will definitely help because we are also supporting with various hospitals and connecting them with like getting data. But in spite of that, like many of the time we have association with few people who may be able to provide certain data, not every data. Like a kind of some people may require MRI, some people may require only X-rays, some other blood reports. So it depends. So it's a very huge task that always they believe. So most of the time, AI people, whoever is with us, like they'll use only the Western data to submit their proposal. I think now this is very clear that it will be good for them to use some
Absolutely.
other real-time data to showcase their algorithm works. Yeah.
Yeah, Indian data set is very important because it's Indian brand at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi team, I'm Bhargavi. I have a query. And can I go ahead?
Please.
Yeah, I would like Vaibhav sir to address this query. So I just need the information key. If at all we have a product and we need to have a labs facility set up, and if at all we are not planning to collaborate with an incubator rather than collaborating with an incubator, is it recommended to collaborate with an academy where the professor is working on the similar work? Or is it recommended to work, collaborate with a company where the company is working on a similar work? What do you suggest on that?
Before Vaibhav answers, I just want to mention individuals at the startups, they need to work with an recognized incubator unless the company has a DSR certified lab. You can always work with academic faculty members, but in the grant, it's a requirement that you work with a certified incubator like Shastra.
Okay, sir.
Vaibhav, you want to add?
Yeah,
If not BIG, yeah.
I understand that maybe I'm wrong here, but what Bhargavi is also trying to say is that before BIRAC Big, the work that you have done, right? Or you're talking about after you get BIRAC Big?
No, before the BIRAC.
Okay, right. So what Vishu has just said is that after, if you are getting BIRAC Big, you have to work with the incubator, and it has to be like that.
Yeah, true.
But before that, whether you develop your proof of concept, whatever data you could get working with an academia or a company, I would say academia is there for the purpose. And at that early stage, it's very difficult to get a company interested. But there are, especially for example in Europe, Sanofi, launches these calls where very early stage ideas could be picked up. I have not seen that kind of thing happening in India, where very early stage ideas are picked up by companies.
Yeah,
But
early stage startups.
But academia is a very good place to do that, and you can go. There are a lot of, for example, IIT Delhi is one of such examples where they support startup formation instead of a PhD. So a lot of faculties, they are exposed to this idea that they should create a startup instead of just a thesis. And all over the country, there are people now very much interested in translating. So I believe academia is a great point to go and do some experiments, ask for help, and that's a very, the only thing you need to be careful about is that you should not break any rules with academia. And in case something comes out, there has to be clear understanding that tomorrow you don't get into conflict with them, right? So for example, you have developed the CRISPR technology with a university, and it was your idea, and you asked for small help with them, and tomorrow the university put a case on you, so it was discovered in our facility and da. So be very careful what you are doing there, how much you can go with them, and it's okay to go with an expert who has facilities and write a contract, small understanding on a stamp duty, on a stamp paper, that if something comes out, I always say, if you are successful by chance, what will happen? Always think about the positive side and how you will be able to take it forward with them. So have it on the paper. Talk to the director of, and not only as an early stage. Even now, I was just recently visiting few institutes. They really help. What we always try to do is get things on paper, and it's not easy. It takes sometimes couple of months, but way shorter than getting things done with a company. Yeah.
Thank you, Vaibhav, for the clarification. And I just want to add, we have 186 BIG awardees, and many are just out of their research or MSc. So it's perfectly fine to carry on, or even the existing work to be applied for a BIG. So you don't need to go separately and start for BIG. Like it's your PhD project or some work is there, you want to apply for BIG, you can take an NOC from the institute or your PhD supervisor and you can apply. I missed that particular point. I thought it is about after BIG, but before BIG, it can be done anywhere. As Vaibhav mentioned, it is good to have no conflict with the institute policy, because in many places, if the work is carried out with the support, financial or the reagents or the lab, the institute will have IP rights.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the clarity, sir. Thank you.
Sir, sir, myself, Boneshwari, I have a doubt. Can you proceed with me?
Go ahead, Bhuvneshwari.
Yeah, ma'am. See, some of the people they mentioned that it will be good if we show some supporting data to get an BIRAC. Okay. See, what we have developed a product. So for that product, we have applied for an IP. Now, patent process is undergoing. It's going on. So in that cases, we'll be able to show the data, because as per the patent norms, it is not advisable to reveal any of your ideas to anyone else, right? So in that cases, how we will show our supporting data for the BIRAC?
Can I take this?
Okay.
Can I take this? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Please.
This was one of my questions, so I discovered it after 18 months, and the answer to that is in pitching. When you will go, and if you look at how to pitch an idea, this is the first thing they say, that you have to develop an art of telling everything what you are doing without revealing how you are doing. So you tell what you do, but you don't reveal how you do, because patents are about how. Okay. Anybody can say, I can connect from Earth to Moon by a superhighway. You reach there in 1 hour. No value. How you're going to do it is a value. So don't reveal how you're doing it, but tell everything what you're doing.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, myself, Brinda, I have a question.
Yes.
See, we have the proof of concept for a software product, and we are going to propose that one. And since it is software, we generically shall we mention that instead of openly saying you can install this into a tab and you can use it as easily you can carry it and the clinician can use it in that way, or else openly saying, or a generic term should be used? Shall we mention that software will be in a tablet format, or so generically we have to explain the tab?
Ma'am, actually, your question is clear, not clear to me. Can you please repeat? You are asking.
Sir, we are proposing a software tool, right?
You are proposing a software tool.
Instead of a software tool, this software tool can be implemented. That is, can be through a tablet. We can give it to the clinician. That is what our idea.
So you want 1 minute. 1 minute, ma'am. I will just rephrase. You have developed a software tool. Your question is whether you want to install on their phone or tab, or you want to install on a separate tab and give to them.
No, Shall we mention it in big grand openly as a tab, or generically you have to define the tab?
Shall I take that question?
Please.
I think I sort of understood your question.
Please.
So basically, the thing is, right? So everybody understands that software cannot be used on their own, right? So either it has to be through a tablet or a smartphone or anything, right? Now, the main question is, what is the innovation, right? So is the innovation the software, or is the innovation the whole solution? So that you have to be very clear at the start. So I can give you one example from my BIG example, right? So in our case, like when we were talking of our data, right? We are talking of data. So we had given our whole grant proposal that we would be creating this AI/ML software system, which is novel and not done before, or if it's done, mature and everything, right? But we didn't focus too much that how this data would come to us, right? Or how this data would be acquired from the clinician's side. But during our BIG discussion, this question had come that, okay, your whole proposal is about this software which you are talking, which is great, but how would you get this data? Which kind of tablet would be used? Will you only provide this, or will you collaborate with another company and they will provide it, right? So what I believe is that depending upon the novelty of your solution, you have to focus. So if your whole novelty is that you are building some AI/ML software solution, you focus on it. But maybe during the grant discussion, it may always be arise that, okay, how this solution would be utilized or how it will be used, where you may need to give more clarifications, whether it's through a tablet or smartphone or anything else. Yeah, that's just my suggestion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So see, the main thing is just adding on, it totally depends upon what innovation you are building. So, you know, in a certain cases, there could be a software innovation and there could be a hardware innovation, right? Maybe your solution needs both to sort of go to the ground, right? But however, you can always say that, see, we are going to take this solution from some other company who has already developed it. So we don't need to build it from scratch, but we are going to build on the whole software piece of it. And that's our innovation, right? Rather than telling two things that we will innovate both, right? So it just depends how you sort of pitch it, where the innovation lies.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I think we are on track with the time. If there are no questions, I would like to request you to send email if you want to follow on for the grant related queries. So please CC ABLEST team when writing to us, so that they are also aware and they can help you as well. And I would like to say thanks to Dr. Shakti Prasad, Dr. Vaibhav Bhatia, Priyanjit Ghosh for taking time. And they have helped so many teams. The simple sharing of their perspective and their journey really helps when formulating similar question.
Thanks to you, Vishu. What we are spending here is like not even 0.1% on what you have spent on each of us. So, yeah.
Thanks
a
a
pleasure.
lot, Dr. Visu. Thanks, Apurva. Thanks, Vaibhav, Shakti, Sridharji, Anuradhaji, everybody. I think we should at least take one photo with all the cameras on. Right? Apurva, what do you say?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Priyanjit.
We can request to please switch on camera. Everyone, can we? Yes. I think we have captured.
Thanks, Apurva.
Thank you so much.
Camera on rakho yaar. Ho gaya.
Bindu, we can't see you. It's so difficult to find you. Yeah.
I'm around. Don't worry. Hey, Vaibhav. Hi, everybody. Hi,
Hi.
Priyanjit.
Hi,
It's really nice to hear